And welcome everybody. It's that time of the week. It's Friday, it's TLF, and what you're watching right now is basically recorded on stream on Thursday, but that doesn't matter because you're still here to see how we're going to be ranking tanks for 9.2 prediction style, because who knows exactly what's going to happen. We can only predict based on what the current situation is and what we kind of think of how the mechanics, the tiers, the double legendaries and all of that matches, you know, the new raid and the new Mythic Plus season. Unfortunately, Marcelian is not with us today because he is very busy editing one of the longest intro for our guides, which you will see. I guess he is in spirit, but we will be taking a look at tanks. And before we do that, you have to take a look at CurseForge, who is actually sponsoring our video, and it's the best way to get your add-ons into World of Warcraft. Quick, easy, simple, straightforward, whatever you want to name it, it's there. We've been using CurseForge for over a year with 0 issues so far. It's very easy, straightforward, and quick to install. So amazing to get your add-ons up and running in a jiffy. You can update them all with one click. They're neatly organized based on categories, really quick to get into action and have your UI look sleek and nice and sexy. Plus, the app is running so well with weekly updates, quality of life improvements, bug fixes, all of that good jazz. Not to mention, you're also supporting the content creators for those add-ons, or the add-ons creators, if you will, because they are getting a cut of the share of the revenue from CurseForge, and it's just amazing. It's also really easy to get. If you look in the description of the video, you'll have a link to it, and you can check our add-ons as well, who will be on the CurseForge website. Thank you very much, CurseForge, for sponsoring the video, and let's get into the tier list. Yeah. Of course, as always, disclaimers are up and standing as always. This is just, you know, kind of my opinion. Rather, I did try to inform myself to the best of my ability, but everything is still subject to change, as it always is. Some of the tier sets have not been addressed and still have some glaring issues that were fixed for other tier sets, so I can imagine that they might be addressed by the time the patch is released. And you know, anything can change once the content is actually out, and as specs get geared, they might obviously skew the power of the general bonus from the tier set and the double legendary further on. So with that being said, with the 10,000 disclaimers out of the way, let's look at Blood Decay. So Blood Decay essentially is looking particularly good, especially after the tier set has been changed. The 2-piece makes it so that, you know, whenever Dancing Rune Weapon is up, you hard strike, you extend Dancing Rune Weapon up to I think a maximum of 10 seconds, and you get a bonus in strength. But what's really kicking Blood Decay's power is the 4-piece, which has been changed, and now whenever you take damage, you have a chance equal to your parry chance to lash out with a hard strike and smack that opponent, generate that runic power, which is actually particularly good. Obviously, giving you like a free rune worth of runic power and damage, fueling your runic power that you eventually end up consuming on death strikes and who knows, even bone storms, who knows right now. But that actually is incredibly good for Blood Decay. And as always, yes, this ranking is for M+ and raids. I see the chat there asking the questions. This is also for the entire patch, let's say the whole content. But I do feel with all of this added and the double legendaries, which are, let's say, I don't think they're that amazing for Blood Decay, but they do just give you a little bit more power. I feel like Super Strain will still remain maybe one of the go-to, since you do have the, of course, you have the damage, but you also have the runic power generation as well. Crimson Rune Weapon might also be good, and there might be a chance that the Gorfy legendary could be used as well. I think Mandel made a point of it in his Blood Decay article, which you can check on Wowhead after you've watched this video, of course. But with that out of the way, I feel like Blood Decay is one of the stronger tanks, and it's going to be an A tier tank, not quite there. And with that out of the way, let's look at Brewmaster. And both Brewmaster and Blood Decay are kind of similar in performance right now in raids and dungeons. Brewmaster still has a little bit more damage than Blood Decay. Blood Decay has a lot more sustain, clearly, and Brewmaster's tier set kind of makes it I feel one of the potential strongest tanks that you can aim for in 9.2. Of course, all the tanks are gonna be balanced. I have to say this all the time because I know you're gonna put in the comments, Bart, where's my tank sheet here? All the tanks are very well balanced and interesting, and I do believe that some of the lower performing ones will have their tier sets adjusted. Meanwhile, Brewmaster gets a very bland 2-piece bonus where, you know, targets affected by a breath of fire do 4% less damage on top of what it already reduced, like 5%, so it would make it up to a total of 9% reduced damage taken from pretty much all sources, which is pretty good. What's really interesting about Brewmaster is obviously the 4-piece where Kick Smash does 50% more damage, which is really good. Kick Smash is already a big part of Brewmaster's damage, and Brewmaster is already a good tank when it comes to damage output. Not only that, it will also heal you for 66% of the damage that it deals, so essentially you could kind of think of, you know, baseline Kick Smash damage is essentially how much healing you're gonna be getting, the Kick Smash that we have now, and 66% of it will also be converted into bonus HP. Essentially, your entire HP pool will be lifted up. So, and this could have a very high uptime, if not 100% uptime, which will essentially make Brewmaster a little bit better at what it does, because your stagger bar will essentially chunk away out of a bigger HP pool. Your healers will not panic as much, and that's already something that Brewmaster is pretty good at. And if you look at Brewmaster's history when it comes to balance, Blizzard has consistently nerfed its HP, obviously stagger as well. But because stagger is, let's say, maybe not as great, so Blood Decay, if we're gonna be putting it in terms, I feel like it's just missing maybe a little bit behind Blood Decay in terms of, let's say, overall effect of the tier set. I feel like it's still going to do a lot more damage than Blood Decay, so I'm a little bit conflicted, but I have a feeling that I might just put Blood into B tier. Brewmaster, I feel like it's a solid A tier. I'm gonna actually let it into A tier. I could be wrong, of course, but I feel like the extra damage that Brewmaster does can take it a little bit above everything. So we'll see if they end up becoming very solid top tier tanks. And we are moving next to Guardian. Guardian has received an interesting tier set as well, which will influence mostly his or its damage output, rather where the 2-piece set makes it so whenever you pop Bark Skin, you get 4 seconds of Berserk or Incarn, which is more likely what you're going to be running with, Incarn that is. And the 4-piece makes it so that whenever you do have Berserk or Incarn, you radiate cosmic ripples of damage that heal you and deal damage to your enemies. This also applies to the 2-piece bonus as well, and this opens up avenues for more builds and legendaries to be used. Sure, you can use your Ursoc Fury Remember legendary and just have those 4 seconds procs of constant no cooldown thrash. You'd probably get about like what, 2 to 3 thrashes out for free back to back, which is really good in terms of tankiness and of course at damage as well. And of course, when you do get your 4-piece proc, you're just gonna be an unkillable monster. And of course, people have been pointing this out with Venthyr being used. You can use the Sinful Hysteria Frenzy to be like an immortal, like an actual immortal, although I'm not sure if... Do you even need, like, as a bear, are you even dying when you have Incarn now? Do you even need to be more tanky? I don't know, we'll have to see. But bear is looking pretty good. It's that weird combination. I still feel like it's not quite up there with Blood Decay and Brewmaster, because although the tier set is really good and does give you a lot of oomph, I feel like the bonuses that Brewmaster and Blood get are a tad better, so I'm going to put Bear in B tier, since mostly the tier set bonuses address bears in dungeons, which is not that bad. It's not that that's bad, but Bear still feels like it has decent damage in raids as well, because you know you can obviously off tank and cat weave and all of that good stuff. But listen, B tier is nothing to scoff at. I see you in chat, don't be sad. Yes, this has been recorded on Twitch, so you know, if you want to be a part of the bans next Thursday, be on twitch.tv/MarcelianOnline. But we're gonna look at Pro Paladin now. Listen, there are a couple of tiers right now that are empty, devoid of class. So Pro Paladin is gonna be, let me put it up. Oh sorry, no, oh, it's S tier because it's fucking stupid, man. Pro Paladin has literally the best tier set bonus possible right now. The 2-piece makes it so that whenever you shield of the righteous, you gain a 4% block chance that can stack up to 3 times, giving you a total percent of 12 block chance rather, which is going to be important once we move into the 4-piece bonus, and that makes it so that whenever you get hit by damage similar to blood decay, you have a chance equal to your block chance, which obviously is gonna be buffed by the 2-piece, to throw a judgment out at the target. Now, if you are thinking, wait a minute, Judgment does very high single target damage, right? Yes. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, Judgment also generates holy power, right? Yes, you are correct. It is insane. And if you're also thinking, wait a minute, the Holy Shield talent also gives you about what, 15% extra block chance? You are also correct. Yes, all of these will function and factor into the tier set performance, and it's what's probably going to put Paladin as a god level tank. Listen, in terms of the overall meta right now, Paladin has obviously the most amount of damage, and it actually has the most amount of tankiness, but that's mostly because it can take advantage of 3 main stats when it comes to defensives, and that's haste, versatility, and mastery. And with a tier set, you might skew a little bit more into mastery. You're probably gonna end up hitting the diminishing returns eventually, so having haste and verse on the side will essentially make it better, since most tanks realistically want 2 main stats when it comes to tankiness. Taking this to the next level will just make Paladins a literal god. They will have amazing damage. They already have amazing AoE damage and amazing single target damage. Everything that the Paladin will get will just bump everything that it has to the next level, and it's a clear difference. I might even go as far as to bump everything back a tier and leave A tier empty, just to signify how much power Paladin is getting. Obviously, this could change. Like I said, it might get nerfed. Who knows? It could be nerfed. But for now, Paladins rejoice, because god damn. Right. Moving on to the other protection spec. Okay. Just in case you might think that I am biased, because obviously I love Paladins, my main at 9.2 is going to be Prot Warrior. With that out of the way, Prot Warrior will be C tier. It could probably be even lower, but I like to put into C tier because I'm very hopeful and I actually enjoy Prot Warrior's tier set bonus. So let's actually talk about why Prot Warrior is a little bit lower than the rest of the tanks. It's still gonna be good, don't get me wrong. So Prot Warrior 2-piece set makes it so that every time you consume 30 rage, you gain a stack called Seeing Red. Once you have 8 of these stacks, they will transform into the buff called Outburst, unless they change their names for whatever reason. When you have Outburst, your next Shield Slam or Thunderclap will be 200% more effective, aka they will generate more rage and they will deal more damage. In the case of Thunderclap, it will have a stronger slow as well. More than likely you're going to be using Shield Slam because the rage gen is going to be crazy, right? Not to mention that with the 4-piece, Avatar has 10% more damage that it gives out to you, and it reduces the damage that you take by 10%, and when you proc Avatar, you'll get a free stack of Outburst that doesn't conflict with the, let's say, supposedly X amount of stacks of Seeing Red that you might have at the time, right? Because supposedly you're not going to be popping Avatar once you already have Outburst. You're going to be spending that Outburst proc, popping Avatar, get another Outburst proc, or if you're in the middle of building towards your Outburst proc from your 2-piece, you can pop Avatar and it will not conflict with the Seeing Red stacks as well. So far, I don't think this will be changed, but that just makes it a very good quality of life. Now, what this means is that you will have a lot of rage income. The rage influx that you're gonna have as a Pro Warrior is going to be crazy, and especially if you're gonna be playing, and you will be playing, Anger Management. This will reduce the cooldown of Avatar to what so far has been tested to be about 30 to 45 seconds-ish, maybe even more. Supposedly getting higher and higher gear, scaling higher and higher with haste, and spending all of that rage that you're gonna be getting. You can also have like fun builds like the Necrolord build with the Conqueror banner, where you're just gonna have so much rage. You're gonna be capping Ignore Pains all over the place. You're gonna be spamming Revenges every other global and so on. It's going to be crazy. The playstyle potential is really fun, and this is what's getting me excited for Pro Warrior. So even though it's a little bit lower than the rest of the specs, it has maybe one of of the funnest playstyles, I think, coming into 9.2, and it's going to be crazy. Mark my words, you're gonna have fun as a pro warrior with a 4-piece tier set. And last but not least, Vengeance Demon Hunter. Now, Vengeance is a little bit weird because it could very well be, performance-wise, it could very well be a little bit above Pro Warrior. However, just constantly reading what other people have to say, obviously, much more skilled people have tested Vengeance more so than me, and will know a little bit better. Looking at what we have so far, I have a feeling that Vengeance could either be C tier or maybe even D tier. Mostly because when we're looking at the overall ranking in 9.2, obviously raids and dungeons as well, we're kind of factoring in the fun aspect as well. Vengeance doesn't really have a lot of its issues addressed. As far as Vengeance tier set goes, the 2-piece essentially makes Immolate have a 10% chance to immolate damage ticks, have a 10% chance to shatter soul fragment from your enemies, and this just makes, you know, again, we're addressing a tier set that gives you a lot of influx of resources, in this case, souls. And the 4-piece essentially makes it so whenever you consume a soul fragment, you reduce the remaining cooldown of your immolation or fell devastation, depending on which one is on cooldown. If both of them are on cooldown, you're essentially randomly reducing the cooldown of one of them by 1 second consuming soul fragments. What this means essentially is that this will have some weird interaction with the current potency called the Growing Inferno, where it might not be as valued anymore, since you will want to play Fallout, the talent that makes immolation shatter soul fragments from enemies. Obviously will do damage as well, and you will want to consume as many soul fragments as possible. Likely you'll still be playing Kyrian, since it's gonna be good. There is an argument to be made about Venthyr if you just want the pure single target damage, which was a weakness that was not addressed for Vengeance. And when I mentioned before that there might still be tier sets that will be addressed, I'm severely hoping that Vengeance is going to be what's going to be addressed, because Vengeance has been so far the tank with the lowest single target damage output, and the tier set doesn't really address that almost at all. Not to mention you're going to be losing a lot of power from the shards as with any other tank, but the tier set doesn't seem to at least fill in the hole that the shards have been using in terms of damage output. It is interesting. You're gonna have a lot of soul fragments economy to manage and juggle, and that can be really cool. There are a lot of legendary combinations that you can be going with, especially if you're gonna be playing Kyrian. You can play Dark Glare Boon, you can play the Razalik legendary, and you can also play the Fiery Soul, Fiery Brand thing, where you can just extend Fiery Brand like crazy, which is really cool, because that can just make, let's say, fill in some holes of Vengeance tankiness, and it could just very well be...
holes! I heard it, I'm sorry, man.
What?
I heard it.
Heard what?
Some holes. I like found it funny because I'm a simple man.
It's okay. This is fine.
I just the street.
Fill in the holes. Say hi to the chat at least, man.
Hey, chat!
There you go. So it could be that Vengeance is maybe more in tune with Prot Warrior in terms of performance. However, I really don't like how the tier set is right now. So I'm gonna be putting Vengeance into D tier in the hopes that this will stir some pots and make some nerds angry, and maybe we can get Blizzard to actually look at the Vengeance tier set and maybe address some of its issues. The fact that, you know, Demon Spikes is still dog shit. I've looked. It's horrible. I didn't believe it at first, but now I'm a believer. Demon Spikes is dog shit, and I really hope that the tier set can address the tankiness of Vengeance in a more direct way, as opposed to, you know, just economy, which is great for tanks like Blood Decay, but Vengeance feels like it needs a little bit more oomph, a little bit more of that, you know, that tankiness floor to be lifted up, so that Vengeance can be on par with everybody. And of course, single target damage output. But this is the tier set for 9.2 in terms of tanks of what we think as of now. Obviously, there are people with different opinions. There are some people believe that, you know, Pro Warrior shouldn't even be on the tier list. Fuck you! But I think the tier list is pretty cool. It's pretty great. It's nice to see all these cool effects, and it's nice to see that tanks that have been essentially theorycrafted initially to be really bad, aka Blood Decay and Paladin, have been addressed by Blizzard and the devs and changed, and now they seem to be maybe one of the best, the two of the best tanks in 9.2 to look out for. But what do you guys think? Do you think I'm way off? Did you bookmark this video so you can come back later and actually see how wrong I was? Well, you know, bookmark it now, like and subscribe, enable those notifications. You know what the gist is. And of course, a big thank you, and shout out to our patrons who are supporting these videos and streams and everything that we do. Thank you very much, guys. You essentially are the heart and soul of our community. We appreciate it. And you, the viewer, if you want to support us a little bit more and to see exactly what this is all about, maybe there are a couple of Patreon tiers that you can check as well. You can look at the link down below and join the Patreon gang, where we have monthly Patreon chats where you can see the bloopers of me burping on camera. That never happens, I swear. But thank you for watching the video. See you next time.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.